Hi, I'm Tanya from the Aquaponic SOURCE, and today we're going to install a fish tank window into this poly tank.
The tools and supplies you will need to install the window efficiently are a Sharpie marker, a level, a drill with a 1/4-inch drill bit, hole saw or spade bit for the corners, jigsaw, reciprocating saw or handheld saw, and a new blade, 100% silicone clear purchased at your local hardware, caulking gun, file and sandpaper, ratchet, 7/16 socket, pliers and vice grips, denatured alcohol and paper towels, and of course the window and bag of bolts, nuts, and washers received from the Aquaponic SOURCE. Step 1. Determine where you want your window placed. This is relative to the tank location in the greenhouse and the plumbing configuration of your tank. Once you know the window placement, make a top and bottom mark with your Sharpie just to help line things up. Step 2. Hold up your window and drill a hole through one of the top pre-drilled holes. They're an even number, so there's no exact center, just pick one in the middle. Step 3. Temporarily secure the window with one of the bolts and nuts provided, then use a level to prepare for drilling the bottom hole. Step 4. Drill a hole in the bottom of the window through the tank. Step 5. Remove the bolt that was temporarily holding the window, being careful not to let it drop to the ground. Step 6. Carefully get inside the tank with the window and secure the top and bottom holes in the window through the tank with the bolts and nuts provided. Make sure that the holes line up with the original holes drilled and the window remains level. Step 7. Drill holes on either side of the pilot holes, top and bottom, in the window. Add bolts and nuts to ensure the window fits snug against the curve of the tank. The smaller the fish tank, the tighter the curve. Step 8. Continue around the top and bottom using the same pattern of alternating each side from the middle out to the edges and installing the bolts and nuts to hold the window tight. Step 9. Once all the top and bottom bolts are secured, the sides can be drilled. No particular order is needed here, just drill from top to bottom. Flat-sided square rectangular tanks won't have an issue with the curve and can be drilled all at once, just like the sides. Marking and cutting the window. Step 10. With the bolts in place to guide your line, use the Sharpie to mark a straight edge around the curve. You want to stay about an inch or so inside the bolts. To prepare for cutting the tank, remove all the nuts and bolts. They can be a bit tricky on the curve, so push the window against the tank to get them to come out or use a mallet from the outside. Be very careful not to crack the window at this step. Now remove the window from the tank. Step 12. Now the fun begins. Use a hole saw or spade bit on your drill to make round corners for the window. A saw cut in a straight line might overshoot the corner, and it's nice to have a really clean rounded edge on all sides. Pop out any plastic that gets stuck in the hole saw as necessary. Step 13. Use your jigsaw with a new sharp blade to saw along the lines from corner to corner. The plastic may wobble more as each side is cut, so have someone help hold is a good idea. Change blades or let your blade cool if it's melting instead of cutting. Step 14. Use a carpet knife to remove any sharp plastic. Then remove rough edges or uneven spots with a file and sandpaper. Setting your window. Step 15. Wipe the inside and outside the work area with denatured alcohol and a paper towel to remove the Sharpie and prepare the surface for silicone. Check again to ensure that there's no plastic left over or any sharp edges. Step 16. Cut the top off your silicone and puncture the inner seal to allow it to flow. Squeeze a bead around the top and bottom of the bolt holes. The silicone is not intended as an adhesive, but if installed properly, it will create a watertight seal. Step 17. Peel off the protective plastic material on both sides of the window and set the top and bottom middle bolts in place and align the window to push the bolts through the matching holes in the tank. Secure with a washer and nut on the outside of the tank. Step 18. Use silicone to fill each bolt hole and then add bolts in the same manner the holes were originally drilled, from the middle to the outer edges, both top and bottom. Secure the bolt with a washer and nut on the outside of the tank and hand tighten. Step 19. Use vice grips or have someone hold the carriage bolt head on the inside of the tank as the nut is tightened on the outside. While these are a bit tricky to install, carriage bolts ensure that your fish don't scrape themselves against a sharp object. Use extreme caution at this step to not over-tighten the bolts and crack the window. Seal the outside of your window. Step 20. Once all the bolts have been tightened and the silicone has made a thorough seal on the inside of the tank, complete the seal on the outside of the tank by putting a bead of silicone around the window opening. Spray with water to maintain a smooth edge and prevent the silicone from sticking to your finger. Let the silicone dry 24 hours before filling with water. Wash and wipe out any plastic or dried silicone, then fill the tank with water. If you notice any leaks, stop filling and tighten bolts or fix the silicone sealant. Enjoy seeing your fish frolic for years to come, and thank you for purchasing a window from the Aquaponic Source.